Well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about Avengers Endgame? Stick around and find out. Bum, 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 down, down, bum, 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 yeah! Wow, this is it. We made it. Hey, I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. Here's my uncut review of Avengers Endgame. Now, this is going to be what I think is a spoiler-free review, but spoiler, that word means different things to different people, so if you want to go in completely clean, now is your final warning, even though I'm going to be as vague as I can. Just if you want to go in completely clean and avoid all potential for anything you don't want to hear, just skip all reviews, okay? So, but I'm still going to be vague. I am going to put up a spoiler car video after this that will be probably much longer and go into all the fan giggly spoilery moments that I want to talk about. So this will be pretty brief, I think. The synopsis. I'm not going to read the synopsis on IMDb. I don't even know what it says. You know what this movie's about. The snap undid people. How do we fix it? The heroes that are left have to figure it out and see what happens from there. As far as the story, script, pacing, tone, stuff like that, this is what I want in a superhero movie. Infinity War gave it to me too. I was surprised that this movie has a weighty, slow-moving opening hour where they really subvert expectation, I think, of what you maybe think this experience is going to be for 3 hours and 1 minute. You know, that of it being like, oh, this is going to be a 3-hour adventure quest and then a mega brawl in space, you know, and it really subverts your expectations of that in some really satisfying ways for me. That first hour, or the last of the 3 hours is when things really explode, but the first hour or so, hour and a half maybe or so, is fairly quiet, sitting in the weight of loss and trying to figure out what to do in various ways. And there is, you know, some action in there too, but it's just peppered little bursts here and there. It's a lot of it is just these characters sitting in the weight of this. And I just really appreciate that when there's consequence and weight and drama and emotion because of the stakes in a movie. So it focuses largely on the characters who weren't snapped out in Infinity War. Lots of little callbacks to previous movies throughout the MCU's 10 years, whatever, history, especially callbacks to movies and previous appearances of the core Avengers characters. I'm not going to make any comments on whether anybody dies or not at all in this movie. But the unfortunate rules of Hollywood, enforced by America's general obsession with youthful sexiness, means that these actors can't be superheroes even, you know, like when they get to their 60s. There's some kind of unspoken cutoff line at which audiences are going to say, they're getting old, I don't want to look at them anymore, you know, even those that aren't like physical heroes, you know, so they've got to start figuring out how can we sunset these characters in one way or another, and start putting the focus on the more youthful, you know, actors in Hollywood or whatever. So this movie seems designed in various ways to sunset at least a few of the core Avengers characters, and I found it to be a very satisfying sunset for them that calls back to and respects the core of who those characters are and what they care about as established in previous movies. In the character moments, this movie made me retroactively care about characters and stories that I didn't care about in other movies, you know? It made me like look back at the gaps in my Marvel movie collection, the movies that I said, I don't need to own that. And now I'm thinking, you know, they reference this dramatic element of a previous movie that in the movie didn't seem to have any weight to it, but now I can see that it is affecting this character. And it makes me want to retroactively go back and try to find the weight that they're feeling here about that moment back there so that I can better appreciate that moment back there in that movie when I wish I would have felt the weight that was, you know, not there. But anyway, I'm not going to get more specific than that. I'm really trying to be vague here, guys. So I may be going back once I'm done uploading this review and buying a few of the Marvel movies and just completing my Marvel movie collection, even with a movie like Thor Ragnarok, which I thought, I'm never going to buy that, you know. So the cast performances, great, you know, it's more of the same, and then some, because I think they have some great material to work with here, some dramatic moments that, for example, Thor has a scene where he's tearing up, and making a joke at the same time, which led me to both getting a lump in my throat and chuckling at the same time. I love that layered complexity. Make me feel two different things at the same time. That is great. That's a great story moment when it can have that effect on me. Complex layers of characters and jokes that don't sacrifice drama and recognition of the stakes. Yes, you can do it, and most of the time, Marvel, you haven't. I don't want to say most of the time, but much of the time, you've sacrificed stakes and weight and drama for the jokes. This movie said you can do both, and you can actually do them at the exact same time. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, stunts and visuals, well, what do you expect? You saw Infinity War. You're expecting a huge spectacle in this movie. You're not going to get it the whole movie through, but certainly in the final hour or so, with other great moments peppered throughout. Hulk looks a little bit different and better translates Mark Ruffalo's performance. I personally have some issues with the route they took Hulk's story in this movie, but I did appreciate, what they did with the visual effects there. Still looks, though, animated to me and like he's not quite there, but they're all kind of probably looking at a tennis ball or maybe a picture of the Hulk that's taped to the top of Mark Ruffalo's head or something. But, after a while, I just accepted the CGI because the story has weight and consequence for the world and characters. It was the same deal for me in a movie like Batman vs. Superman, where it's like, oh man, Doomsday and, all this CGI stuff, it's a bunch of CG, but it had weight and impact emotionally on the characters. And so I was able to buy into the fact that Superman and Wonder Woman are fighting a cartoon. Similarly in this movie, there's just crazy CGI all over the place, but I was able to buy into it because from a storytelling perspective, from an artistic perspective, they figured out how to pull on those heartstrings and get me to be invested in the drama that was unfolding. Music, I'll just briefly say that there are some great returns of multiple hero themes. It's just one more way that they really pay respect to and leverage what they have earned in previous movies. This is just a great closing out. I mean, if they didn't make another Marvel movie beyond this, this would make sense as an ending to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I know that's not the case. And in fact, in the aftermath, I'm like, okay, now I think Comic-Con will probably be when they roll out potentially a bunch of information about what their schedule of movies is going to be for the next 3-5 years or whatever. And so that will be, I'm very interested to see what they're going to do, which characters will be kind of like the core popular characters that they anchor the universe on. It'll be very interesting. Anyway, okay, so is there anything of moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance going on? Are there any themes, that might stimulate some worthwhile conversation or thought in those areas? I don't think so. It's not really a message movie to me. There wasn't really a message that stood out to me. There is little things all over the place. There's heroic self-sacrifice, as you would expect, but that's not really highlighted as a theme. The multiverse concept is lightly implied, but most people would say, how is that a theme? And so I'd have to go onto a rabbit trail to talk about that and why that's a potential theme to think about. There are characters that kind of choose to quote-unquote repent or more accurately maybe reform their character, so maybe there's a little something there you could mine. There's so much going on that no one theme really, I think, has time to develop in the spotlight. If you're looking for themes, you can find them as you can in almost any movie, but I don't think that's a focus at all, and it didn't. I don't think this movie is going to lead to that kind of thought or conversation. I'll have a little bit more to say about some kind of theme moments in my spoiler car segment, which I plan to upload soon, so keep an eye here. But in summary, this doesn't strike me as aiming to get a clear message out really about anything that it really wants you to get your attention about. I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter! Dude, you really liked Infinity War. Don't wait. I know I don't say this very often, but don't wait. Go see this in theaters. You're going to like it that much that it's actually worth you paying money to go and see this in theaters in addition to buying it later on. You're going to enjoy this movie so much, it's going to send you home to jump on Amazon and complete your Marvel movie collection, probably with even the ones that you didn't like when you first saw them. It's rated PG-13 for sequences of sci-fi violence and action and some language. Stay tuned for that spoiler car segment. It's going to be a lot longer than this, and I'm going to go into all kinds of dorky fan stuff that got me excited or had me a little frustrated or disappointed or whatever, but mostly positive and excited. Those are my thoughts. I'd love to get yours in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell, and then join us over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We've got a ton going on here at Spirit Blade Productions and Christian Geek Central, including our in-depth Bible study for geeks, movie, game, and other entertainment reviews or commentary, live streams, Christian geek news, original audio dramas, and tons more. And on top of all that, you can become a Spirit Blade insider with an influential voice and get access to exclusive content and rewards. It's your involvement as a patron that will keep all of this going and growing, so I want to thank you for your consideration in that. For more information, please check out our Patreon page through the link below at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. Thanks for listening.